What a day that was. Good evening. That was Donegal lifting the Sam Maguire last September after their win over Dublin. Today the teams were back at Croke Park for the sequel. This time it was the National League final. Donegal playing in their first ever league decider. Dublin, they were trying to win the title for the 8th time. Well, joining me in the studio once again is former Down All-Star Liam Austin, and we'll be hearing from Liam very shortly. But first of all, we can take a look at Donegal's league campaign. And it's been very impressive. Unbeaten on the way through, they were also getting amongst the goals, as you can see. There was a 1-point win over Derry in the quarter-final, and they had 5 points to spare over Clare in the semi-final.
Trying to bring Seamus Clancy out of position. This is John Enright. Getting it outside the Barry. Can he have a shot? Oh! A magnificent goal!
It certainly was. It finished 112 to 1-7 for Donegal. Looking at Dublin's record, they've had one defeat on the way through. That was against Derry, and they managed just 2 goals. But they did have a convincing win over Kildare in the quarter-final, and then in the semi-final, they beat their old rivals, Kerry.
Doherty into a push. The free is quickly taken inside to Niall Guyden. Dublin looking. Dublin scoring. Guyden with the goal.
2-point win there for the Dubs. And Liam, looking at Dublin there, they did need a good league campaign after the disappointment of losing the All-Ireland, didn't they?
Undoubtedly, Jackie, their confidence was severely shaken after the All-Ireland final last year. Donegal on that occasion were the surprise packet. It has changed now. Dublin under a new manager, Dr. Pat O'Neill, and he'll have instilled in the team much greater hunger, and they will be better prepared for today's game.
Yeah, and Donegal, they're in fairly good nick, aren't they? Unbeaten in some 14 games.
Yeah, and they will be keen to keep that winning streak going. There's a saying in football circles, winning is a habit, and they are doing that at the moment. Playing with great confidence at the moment and belief in themselves. They have a panel of players who are all keen to do well, and they will do very well today.
What type of game were you expecting today?
Both teams would rely on a running game, and I think that's what we're going to see it today. Midfield will be a crucial area. There'll be a lot of break ball there, but I think the team that gets the important scores will come out on top in the end.
Right, I think we can take a look now at the Donegal team and a few familiar faces here.
Yeah, it's about 14 of those players played in last year's All-Ireland final, so they're a very experienced unit. Undoubtedly their full forward line are an excellent bunch of fellas. Tony Boyle has revelled in the full forward position, so he would be a marked man today, along with Declan Bonner.
We can move on to the Dublin side, a fairly new team here, a few new faces.
Yeah, well, Pat O'Neill played as a defender himself on the good old days of the Dublin team, and he has gone for great changes in his defence. Midfield has caused great problems for Dublin recently. They haven't been able to replace the Brian Mullins and the Burden Brogans of yesteryear, but Bealen and Sheedy have been doing very well recently, so they should be making an impact today.
And of course, Vinnie Murphy there at full forward as well. Always a danger man, isn't he?
Yeah, his battle with Matt Gallagher should be very, very interesting.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's go to Croke Park now, where they had a crowd of over 60,000, and the atmosphere, well, it really was quite something. On commentary, there's Meath corner forward Colin O'Rourke, and the man picking it up first, Ger Canning.
Another big occasion for Brian White from Wexford. He was in charge of last year's Leinster final when Dublin defeated Kildare. There's the most wonderful buzz about Croke Park on league final day. Not quite capacity, not too far off, however. Dublin, who won the toss, up to play from left to right in the first half, but straight away under pressure, Anthony Malloy's long punt down towards Tony Boyle, away by Dermot Deasy. Kieran Walsh now on a solo run. He played in the 1991 league final against Kildare. He was full back that day. This is Jack Sheedy to Paul Bealen, his midfield partner, dropping it up to the corner. That's won brilliantly over there by Barry McGowan. Anthony Malloy again with a great semi-final performance. He turned in, sailed over the head there of Kieran Walsh, and the player doing the pulling down there appeared to be James McHugh. Nick Deegan to take it. Knocked it towards Vinnie Murphy. Well, remember, he was the target on All-Ireland Day as well. Brian Murray putting in the challenge, but out in the middle of the field. Mopped up by Paul Curran. Now Guyden, the goal scorer in the last game against Kerry. waltzing his way around the challenges, on for the unmarked Vinnie Murphy, and there's a scoring chance, and Vinnie Murphy puts it over the bar, and the Dubs go in front inside the opening minute and a half. Well, that's a confidence booster, Colm O'Rourke, for Dublin.
Yes, a very well worked score by Dublin. Paul Curran setting it up in the middle of the field, and a great run through by Niall Guyden. Very stacked marking by Donegal, and quite an easy chance for Vinnie Murphy to get him off the mark.
The breeze right now is, if anything, blowing across the field, across towards the Cusack stand, as Anthony Malloy right now links up with Rambo, Martin Gavigan. Late challenge coming in from Jack Sheedy as he did so, fisted away by Dermot Deasy to the unmarked Paul Curran. Tommy Carr drifting back from centre half forward. Players going forward. One of them is Mick Deegan, the impish left half back. Now the other half back, Paul Curran, the half back line, linking up with a player who used to play there, Tommy Carr. Looks to tag on another score, but it's the first wide of the match. Interesting that the half-backs have been pushing up in support of Tommy Carr there. There had been a suggestion that was one of the things that the selectors were unhappy about in Keith Barr's play. The atmosphere is really All-Ireland final type. Gary Walsh kicking. Jack Sheedy and Paul Beelan really showing tremendous determination, just a little bit too forceful in their challenge for that ball. There was some pushing, so Donegal get the free. Well, at All-Ireland time, Donal Reid here had been suggesting that he was about to retire from inter-county scene, but obviously swept up in the emotion of the occasion and all that's happened since. He's still very much part of the Donegal team. Donegal get the decision. Kicked in towards Barry Cunningham. Strong challenge in there. Paddy Moran. Peary now. That's aimed towards Charlie Redmond. John Joe Doherty is his marker this afternoon. John Joe winning it. Brian Murray. For a Donegal side still looking to get their first shot on John O'Leary's goal. Guyden punting it forward. Again, Vinnie Murphy drifting away from Matt Gallagher, doing so with considerable ease so far. That's Guyden up into the clouds. It sails and accurately over the bar. That's a very fine point. It's Paul Beelan, in fact, who scored it. Paul Beelan who gets the point from the middle of the field. Guyden had been involved in the build-up a little bit earlier on. Vinnie Murphy there, marked again by Matt Gallagher in this tie. The point scorer collecting it in midfield to Jack Sheedy, fed outside to Paul Curran. Donegal very slow to settle down in this match. The hunger and the eagerness coming from Dublin. And the challenge there brushed aside easily. This is Martin Doran. Barry McGowan again holding him. Slipped back towards Vinnie Murphy. It was going the wrong way for him. Oh, and an anchor challenge there by Heary on Martin McHugh. He gets away with it. Vinnie Murphy collecting, but putting it wide. Dublin's second wide. But they've had the great bulk of the chances so far. Well, majority support for Donegal so far, as on All-Ireland Day, but they've yet to see any excitement from their forward line. Again, the midfield battle being won by Dublin. Shovlin linking up with Donal Reid. The intricate passing movements that we saw in the first half of the semi-final with Clare, working their way out of defence. McHugh towards Tony Boyle. Deasy follows him all the way. And the other physical challenge by Deasy results in a Donegal free. The Referee going back a fair distance to have a word with a couple of players. Brian Murray, one of them, and Tommy Carr was also involved, an army man and a Garda. But the referee is quite content that a warning is sufficed at this early stage in the game. The jeering ringing in the ears of Declan Bonner, as was the case in the semi-final, from the crowds on Hill 16, and he puts it over the bar for Donegal's first point of the match. Deegan, he looks so fit through the centre. John Joe Doherty trying to stand back, winning it the second time there from Charlie Redmond. Remember, it's 2-1 in Dublin's favour, in spite of the fact that they've had the lion's share of possession. Oh, it's a little uncompromising. John Joe Doherty, the injured player. Free quickly taken to Barry McGowan. The Donegal backs have seen a lot of the action. This is Tony Boyle, first chance to shine in this match now. Make things happen. Good on either foot. Holding it up nicely. That was fed through by Manus Boyle. James McEwen there, losing out to Paul Curran again. Coming away from his centre half-back position, pursued by Manus Boyle, running in towards Martin Gavigan. 45 metres out, holding up the point of the attack, waiting for a run. It comes from Niall Guyden. The dancing feet of Guyden trying to go by Donal Reid. Jersey pulled, and he slots over the point. That's a very fine score indeed, and Paul Curran made it all happen with an adventurous run out of midfield.
Great play by Paul Curran, dispossesses James McEwen at one end, makes a lot of ground. Martin Gavigan stops him, but he plays a brilliant ball into Niall Guyden, who picks up a great position here. And Guyden had the right corner position left vacant by Martin Doran, making a run across to the other side of the field, and even though his jersey is pulled, he kicks a lovely point with his left foot.
Donal Reid now making some headway. Again Martin McHugh calling for it, the pocket general. Here he is. On far dog, chased and pursued by Paul Curran. Outside to Manus Boyle, man of the match in the final 9 points, and now he kicks over his first in the Royal Ivor National League final. So just a point between the teams. Donegal with 2 chances so far and 2 points.
First real chance that Donegal have had in the game. Good play by Martin Gavigan to shrug off the tackle, set up Martin McHugh, and then on to Manus Boyle. It kicks a great point off his left foot, just what he did in the All-Ireland final as well.
And Keith Barr is preparing to come in, and the player going off will be John Calvert. So the little slip of pair to Keith Barr. So after 21.5 minutes, John Calvert forced out, and the young St Vincent's player congratulated on his performance, but commiserated with as well for having to come off so early. Phelan on to Tommy Carr. Donegal guilty of 2 men going for the 1 ball, leaving 3 Dublin players off the post and over by Vinnie Murphy. Vinnie's second point of the game, just extending Dublin's lead, 4 points to 2.
Paul Phelan doing very well in punching the ball down from the midfield, and a great ball from Tommy Carr onto Vinnie Murphy, who's moving much farther out than he did in the All-Ireland final, and kicks a great point. Donegal's half-forward line are in big trouble. They're getting no possession at all from the breaks around the middle of the field, and then Tony Boyle then is not getting any decent ball in.
Paul Curran. The free kick is going to Donegal, charging there by Paul Curran. Gavigan placing it here for Donal Reid to come and kick in towards Tony Boyle. Again Dermot Deasy first to the ball. McDeegan to Tommy Carr. They're still only 2 points ahead in spite of all their superiority. Vinnie Murphy taking it again ahead of Matt Gallagher, and he kicks it over to put 3 points between them, and by a coincidence Vinnie has got 3 points as well.
Mick Deegan giving a ball out to Tommy Carr, who's going to the wings and is not being followed by Martin Gavigan, who's staying in the middle, and still the long ball to Murphy works. He's still able to beat most full-back to possession, and again kicked a great point.
Reid on for Gallagher. Barry McGowan once again. Very nice play out of defence. The push by Guided in the back, but the referee says play on. Still Barry McGowan. Kieran Walsh coming across, not taking it up in the hands, flanking it across here towards the number 10, Eamon Heary. Gavigan can't reach it. Charlie Redmond taken out of it, but allowed to continue. Charlie lashed across Gavigan as the referee didn't see it. Just as Tommy Carr was fouled, it's going to be a free in to Dublin. There was a bit of frustration there with Charlie. He lashed out at Martin Gavigan just before that ball came back. Charlie Redmond still to score. We're now in injury time. The rain begins to come down, but it's been a very good first half for Dublin. They haven't scored as much as they might have, but Charlie can embellish a good first half performance by taking this free and putting it over. So that is Dublin's first score from a free, and it's 6 points to 2, and it comes in injury time. The elements just now just favouring Dublin, so the breeze will be at Donegal's back for the second 30 minutes. They'll hopefully set Croke Park alight, and we'll have an even better second half as Guidon missed that last ball of the first half. Referee Brian White calling for half-time. Vinnie Murphy scored 3 points for a Dublin side that really were dominant, and at half-time it's Dublin 6, Donegal 2. Well, overall a satisfying first half for Pat O'Neill as he walks out now for the start of the second. I suppose he will be very concerned about the wides. They've had 5 during the opening 30 minutes. Brian McAniff here has made one change to his side at the start of the second half. Noel Hagerty has come in and he's taking up position at centre half back in place of Martin Gavigan. So 4 points between the teams. Won by Charlie Redmond, struggling to make an impact during the first half, shrugging off the attentions of Martin Shovlin as he kicks it, and he kicks it over the bar. Straight away at the start of the second half, Charlie Redmond getting a score from play and putting 5 points between the teams. Reid dodging inside the challenge of Jack Sheedy, and Brian Murray now. Hasn't shone in this game so far. Going for the shot himself, looking for a score, and just tailing to the right there. Donegal's second wide. Brian Murray's wife Della, 6 days overdue, expecting their first child, so it's all been a very unsettling week for him, and his whole pattern of build-up to this game, well, he would have wished to have been a bit better than that, I'm sure. Cunningham. Tony Boyle has heard the whistle. It's a free from where the ball lands. The Donegal player kicking that in was fouled. Manus Boyle studying this angle. It's well within his range. Right on the 20-metre line. Free supporting him, and it's sailed over the bar. Not leaving too much margin for error, but Manus has got a second point, one earlier from play. So only 4 points between them. The crowd now really getting behind Donegal in particular. Dublin fans responding on Hill 16. Heary coming out to try and claim it. This is a phase in the game when you feel that Donegal just might begin to get back into the match, and Dublin will be doing their darnest, but then Heary holds on too long, and it's going to be a free kick to Donegal. Best little spell of the match that they've had. Taken by Noel Hegarty. Up to Tony Boyle. Inside to Barry McGowan. Dropped it but recovered. A point scoring chance and he's put it over the bar. That's 2 points in rapid succession now. McGowan coming way up there from his cornerback position to make that score.
Good play there by Barry McGowan, who started to run from his cornerback position as soon as Eamon Heary was penalised, and eventually got at the end of the move to put Donegal right back into the game.
There was a bit of annoyance among the Dublin backs that Martin Doran hadn't tracked back properly, and now it's Donegal again, coming now in full flow. Anthony Malloy setting it up for Donal Reid. The All-Ireland champions now beginning to play a bit. Malloy, 9 minutes into the second half, and John O'Leary opting judiciously to fist it out over the end line at the expense of a 45. That's the first 45.
John O'Leary there taking no chances with that ball coming in. It has got very slippy now since half-time with all the rain we've had. And he's given Declan Bonner a chance of another point.
Declan putting in, stopped by John O'Leary, and there's a push in there by Manus Boyle on Kieran Walsh just as that ball was dropping in there. So the pressure once again taken off the Dublin defence, at least momentarily. They'll be anxious now just to stay those few points ahead and keep a bit of daylight between themselves and the All-Ireland champions. Brilliantly fetched by Jack Sheedy of Dublin. Knocked ahead towards Martin Doran. Barry McGowan claiming that it was all an accident, but the referee seeing that there was a push. Vinnie Murphy will take the free, it seems. In fact, he's leaving it to Charlie. Charlie Redmond in recent times sharing responsibility for taking these screens with Paddy O'Donoghue. Paddy off the Dublin team this afternoon. Charlie has scored 2 points so far, one of them from a free, and the familiar round the corner style of Charlie Redmond to kick this one on the 45-metre line. Here's Charlie Redmond with the kick. Dropping well, dropping short, however, and once again the referee quick to spot that there was a square infringement by Vinnie Murphy. Donegal breaking quickly. Noel Hegarty pulled down by Charlie Redmond. Taking it quickly up towards Tony Boyle. Trying to roam a little bit away from the marker, Dermot Deasy. Deasy's played superbly. That's Niall Guyton on for Tommy Carr. It's such an effective first half. Carr felled and Redmond to knock it across towards Eamon Heary. Bounces off Martin Chauvelin's grasp. Back down to Brian Murray. Wins supporting Donegal. They trail by 7 points to 4, and Kieran Walsh fists it away. It's going to be a Donegal sideline ball. No time to waste now. 12 minutes into the second half. James McHugh pushed, recovers in towards Manus Boyle again. Kieran Walsh just hanging back, and the kick has gone wide. A third wide in the second half for Donegal.
The pace of the game has picked up considerably, mainly because Donegal are now taking all their frees from the hand rather than the slow build-up that they had the first half when they kicked most of them from the ground. But now the fact that the game is going away from them, they're kicking everything from the hand and moving the ball much faster.
Well, they still have plenty of time remaining as Kieran Walsh knocks it down. Matt Gallagher under it. Players there to support him. One of them, John Joe Doherty. Here he is. Dodging row. Oh, we hear he caught him high to the face that time. Referee saw it, says play on. Good advantage. There's some holding here. And it's going to be a Donegal free. Keith Barr adjudged to have held the Donegal forward, making his way in that time. James McHugh there, and the referee quite rightly having the word here with Mick Deegan for the challenge earlier on there.
Mick Deegan would feel that he was being fouled in that incident, but the free goes to Donegal anyway.
Manus Boyle, and he puts it over. Another point for Manus Boyle. The Donegal supporters now in celebratory mood, feeling they're still in this league final with a real chance. The margin a mere 2 points. Well, this is a bit more like it from the All-Ireland champions. Dublin won the first half, no question about that. Vinnie Murphy, as always, coming out for the kick out to the centre of the field. Didn't claim it. It's with James McHugh. Paul Beelan, the number 8 for Dublin. McHugh. Martin McHugh. On it goes towards Manus Boyle, trying to make his way through. Paul Beelan back there trying to put in the challenge. Back again to James McHugh. Kicking high. Declan Bonner fisted away by Paddy Moran for Dublin. Recovered by Tony Boyle. Lost. Claimed again by Mick Deegan. Great wing-back play by Deegan. Alive to the possibilities. Jack Sheedy and Paul Beelan showing great industry. Martin McHugh, that's one back there. Paul Curran. Under the dropping ball is John Joe Cunningham. And Charlie Redmond incensed by all of that. But the referee's given the whistle and the free to Donegal. It's Matt Gallagher. Brian Murray. Lobbing it in towards Tony Boyle. Goalkeeper held back and stayed back. And it ends up going harmlessly out over the end line and wide. Mick Galvin is preparing to come in. He's already got 2 league medals to his credit, hoping to win a third. Pat O'Neill there, realising that Donegal were getting on top. It's 7 points to 5. Vinnie Murphy out around the centre to claim it. It's won by Niall Guyden. They're ahead of Donal Reid. Great pace and good penetrative skills here by Guyden. Fisting it on nicely to Jack Sheedy. What a great run. Going by Noel Hegarty. Still going by. But eventually running into a cul-de-sac and losing the ball. And it's John Joe Doherty who's fouled. And the referee says this is happening a bit too often. Mick Deegan is coming in. Or Mick Galvin is coming in. The player going off is Martin Doran, I think. Doran has gone off. Replaced for the 3rd game in the series here in Croke Park. Replaced in the quarter-final and semi-final as well. Brian Murray. Matt Gallagher linking up with him. Tony Boyle, by the way, has been switched into the half-forward line. He's marked now by Keith Barr. As Paul Curran once again gets on the ball. Now Tommy Carr. Martin McHugh putting in the late challenge. Down towards Charlie Redmond. John Joe Doherty winning it again. Playing well against Charlie Redmond. And repeatedly John Joe has been fouled. Matt Gallagher giving it back to him. Brian Murray. Blasting it forward that time towards Barry Cunningham, and you just begin to wonder, Colin, whether or not Dublin have run out of steam, because since half-time Donegal have been very assertive.
Yes, Donegal are moving everything much faster now. Every one of their players is looking for the ball and hungry. Jack Sheedy should have really given Dublin a better cushion there a minute ago, and an easy chance, and they might regret that before it's over.
Martin McHugh engineers a free-scoring opportunity. Congratulated by his brother James. Dublin very frustrated, feeling that he had overcarried. The referee gives the decision Donegal's way, and Vinnie Murphy there arguing the toss. And that's where the full forward is, way back there. This is the incident again as Vinnie was challenging.
Yeah, well, Vinnie Murphy got into tackle from behind, but it has been noticeable the last few minutes that Martin McHugh has come much more into the game.
They're right back in it in a very meaningful way. The point by Declan Bonner, a second from a free, reduces the deficit to just a point. So, will it be Dublin's 8th league success? or Donegal's first. The fans hoping to see their team tag on the National League title to last year's All-Ireland success. The concession of frees so far is interesting. Frees to Donegal so far, 32. Frees to Dublin, 9. And Bonner, who picked up that low back injury which forced him out of training for the last 2 weeks, well, he seems to be okay again. It's Martin McHugh's kicking. In about the house, and it's there, but is he in the square? Is Wallace Boyle in the square? It's going to be a free out. Well, a debatable point, but the referee was right up there, and I must say from this angle here he seemed to be in the square. But was he there just before the ball?
I think first of all, when this ball comes in, the free should have been probably for a push by Manus Boyle, because there was a lot of shoving going on into the square before the ball came in, and he certainly wasn't in the square. So if the free was for anything, it had to be for a foul on Kieran Walsh, because he certainly wasn't in the square.
Well, that's going to be one of the big talking points. Had he 1 foot even in the square? Paddy Moran pulled, but he loses possession. Barry Cunningham to McHugh, who wants to tie up the match at 7 points apiece. Martin McHugh's first score of the afternoon comes with 8 minutes to go in this dramatic National League final. It was all one-way traffic earlier on. Right now it's all one-way traffic in the opposite direction. Well, there is that great old commentary cliche, the game of 2 halves, and that's just how it's working out.
That mistake by Paddy Moran, who could have cleared that ball, but Martin McHugh, who has come much more into the game the last 5 or 10 minutes, was there to take advantage of it. And it's significant that Paul Curran, who dominated the first half, it is Martin McHugh who's having the better of that at the moment.
It's also curious that Dublin has only had 2 attempts at a score during this entire second half so far. Such has been the dominance of Donegal, certainly in midfield. They've really got on top. Heary. This is a bit better from the Dubs, wanting to restore their position. The aforementioned Paul Curran now. In here to Niall Guyden, to Tommy Carr. Closed down unfairly by Anthony Malloy. And the referee signalling that the free has to be taken from the correct position. Tommy Carr, I'm sure, feeling that perhaps Dublin were doubly penalised because they weren't allowed to take the quick free. They're sandwiched into Hill 16, the Dublin fans. They wouldn't be anywhere else, would they? Just over 6 minutes to go. Game tied up at 7 points apiece. This time the jeering is coming from the Donegal fans, trying to unsettle Charlie Redmond's nerve. And Charlie put Dublin back in front again. He's put it over the bar. He may be not exactly be endearing himself to the Donegal fans because of his big build up to those frees, but Dublin back in front again. Gary Walsh kicking it. Jack Sheedy under it, can't hold it. Kieran Walsh fly kicking it away towards Paul Curran, having to be sharp to get there ahead of Barry McGowan. Touched on by Jack Sheedy. Brian Murray, a much more resolute performance from him. Cross towards Barry Cunningham's corner, playing top of the left. Dermot Deasy beaten for once. Paddy Moran. A hint of indiscipline in the Dublin ranks just at the moment. Passes going astray, but picked up now by Guyden. On towards Beelan. Played on nicely to Charlie Redmond. This is a bit better from the Dubs. Heary inside for Beelan, looking for a second score, and then he stumbled over, and the momentum of the attack was gone. And it's Martin Shovlin who has it, and it's going to be a free out for holding. Well, that was such a promising build-up, and poor Paul Beelan stumbled at the most inappropriate moment. Free taken to the goalkeeper, Gary Walsh. Donal Reid. The champions would love to tag on the league title. Dublin do not want to get beaten by Donegal for the second time. what a bad build-up it would be to their championship aspirations. But right now they're watching Noel Hegarty linked up with Manus Boyle. Boyle trying to go round the cover, trying to kick the equaliser, and the umpires had a quick confab, and the man on the far side signalled to the man on the near post to put up the white flag. There wasn't too much in that one. Manus Boyle with 4 points. That's a decision that could have gone either way. Certainly one of the umpires wasn't quite happy in his mind, I think, that it was a point, but the other man was certain.
Great play by Noel Hegarty there, who really took the game on right from his own half-back line, sold it up the field and released it to Manus Boyle. Kicks this ball. A lot of the Dublin backs thought it was wide, and certainly it appeared wide from our position, but the umpires gave it as a point.
So what a game, 8 points apiece. Curran dropping it down towards Charlie Redmond. It breaks down to Vinnie Murphy. What a last great few minutes we should have here. Vinnie kicking, and Vinnie has put it over the bar. 4 points for the Trinity Gael star. Donegal going back in front at a critical stage in the match. Can they now stay there?
Again, Vinnie Murphy, Dublin saviour when they really needed him. Ball shielded well by Charlie Redmond and knocked down to him, and a great point off his right foot. Certainly has had the better of his clash with Matt Gallagher today.
Gary Walsh with 3 minutes of normal time still remaining. John Joe Doherty's just checking his stride, linking up with Matt Gallagher again. Oh, there's a high fist there, and the referee just holds up the ball, and Tommy Carr is going to be lectured at the very least by the referee, Brian White. Just as the Donegal fullback was coming out of his position with the ball, this is what happened.
Matt Gallagher takes this ball under pressure, shakes off one tackle, and Tommy Carr comes in late. Matt Gallagher swings back a fist and hits Tommy Carr, so in actual fact the Donegal man was at fault there.
That was very interesting indeed, because the original decision seemed to be that this was the man who had been injured, but in fact it was Tommy Carr who was the person who had that arm thrust into his face. Worth looking at once again as John Joe Doherty was playing the ball towards the advancing fullback, held there, challenged by Tommy Carr, who then had that arm lashed out into his face.
Noel Hegarty doesn't like it, but the referee is making the correct decision here and throwing up the ball.
Feeling that it was difficult to apportion blame, so he decides to let play continue from this throw-in.
Just as well the referee isn't enforcing the personal foul rule, because Charlie Redmond would be gone off at this stage.
He's calling for the ball, they're playing away. Barry McGowan is advancing on goal. Barry Cunningham is doing heroics at the other end, I can tell you, all this while. It's not going to count. Not going to count. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Charlie Redmond is being spoken to. And Charlie booked earlier on, and now he's been sent off. The referee didn't have an option. Remember, he booked him much earlier in the game. So Dublin are down to 14 players. There's a half a minute remaining on my watch. It's Dublin 9, Donegal 8. Noel Hegarty looking for an equaliser for Donegal, and he's kicked it over! The second half substitute has got the equaliser. Noel, the centre half-back, has delighted these Donegal fans, who will now feel that their team is at least surely due another day out. Paddy Moran. Oh, and a real pile-up, and Anthony Malloy felt the brunt of that as Keith Barr was going in on top of him, and the referee trying to defuse a potentially very ugly situation. Oh, this is really senseless. Well, there was a lot of hot air down in Thurles last Sunday, and there's a fair bit of striking going on down there. And the referee, with the two managers in there trying to cool down both teams. Keith Barr has been spoken to. Dublin already down to 13 players. and the referee Brian White having a check that it's number 5 that he's wearing, and he's gone as well. This is amazing. Keith Barr jumped in
guilty of a lot of indiscipline. It's a terrible tackle by Keith Barr coming in on Anthony Malloy, standing under the ball. Referee really had no option but to send him off after that.
This is a very sad day. Dublin are down to 13 players. It's 9 points apiece.
It's very foolish on the Dublin players' point of view because there's still everything to play for.
And it's all over. It will be everything to play for the next day. But this league final has ended level on the scoreboard. Donegal finished with 15 players, however. Dublin had only 13. The dismissed men, Charlie Redmond and Keith Barr, in the last 3 minutes of this game. And Vinnie Murphy, who excelled, 4 points in all, an outstanding performance. Vannis Boyle at 4 points for Donegal, and the final score reads Donegal 9 points, Dublin 9 points.
Yes, 9 points each, and the replay will be next Sunday. Today, if it was a good game, there was also Dublin having those 2 men sent off, and should Manus Boyle's goal have been ruled out? Talking points for Liam Austin in a moment. But first, the views of those involved at Croke Park. And first we hear from Donegal's Martin McHugh, and his young son Mark is looking on.
We realised that there were about 35,000 Donegal people and they travelled up, and we knew that we didn't play the first half and we let the whole county down, and we came out the second half with fire in our bellies, and I mean it definitely helped us. We started running the ball around the middle of the field, which first half we were definitely not getting there, you know.
Dublin looked much hungrier in the first 30 minutes.
Ah yeah, definitely. I mean, credit to Dublin, they came out, they were well prepared. It's a problem that we have maybe in Donegal, we're not going early enough, you know. That's a few games now we've played, and we've only started to play in the second half, and I think we have to look at that at training, you know. But fair play to Dublin, they really came out of the first half, and lucky enough they didn't get as many scores on the board as they could have had, and we were lucky to be just only 4 points down at half time.
Were you confident you were going to win it at any stage in the second half?
Well, I think when we got a level, it's hard for the team then that are behind, you know. But I thought that whatever team would get the goal was going to win the match, and the way there were no goals, so I mean maybe it's a fair result that we love to fight another day, both teams.
What had you to say to your players at half time?
Well, I had said to them that Dublin obviously were much hungrier, much more committed. They were looking for the break and ball, and they wanted to win the match a lot more than we had. And a lot of our players, I saw Barry McGowan throwing out a very bad pass. Notwithstanding that, he had an excellent match. And I complained to the boys during half time that when he did look up, there was no one available to take the ball off him.
You brought Noel Hegarty in place of Martin Gavigan, and he contributed handsomely as well to a very fine second half performance, and you began to win at midfield.
In the first half we were just going on one end in the middle of the field, where Dublin were firing on 2. Martin Gavigan went into the game unfortunately with the flu, and we thought he was a good deal better than he was, but you could see that he was out of sorts for himself. Noel was biting at the chaff all week to get into the side, and because the defence had played so well in the semi-final, there was no place for him, but we knew how well he was going, and he showed that in the second half with a very stirring performance.
In the first half, your half-forward line had been struggling as well quite a bit to come into the match.
Well, yeah, we weren't reading the break. We were coming far too deep. We were making it very easy for the Dublin half-back line to attack us. And later the fact that Dublin were winning midfield and the half-backs attacking, they put our defence under a great deal of pressure. Not only were they under pressure, but they're getting good quality ball into the inside forwards. And that made life very difficult for Matt Geller at full-back.
Are you happy that Donegal performed in the forwards today, as they've been dubbed the best forward line in the country at the moment?
Well, I would have to say I was very disappointed with the way we played. However, we did show the resolve in the last quarter of the game to come back and get the result. But a lot of work has to be done if we're to win the National League. And to be fair to Dublin, they were the hungrier team out there today, and they were very close to winning it. And we have a lot of work to do in the next week if we intend to win the National League.
Donegal manager Brian McAniff. And Liam, I would suggest that was a very good game of football today.
Without doubt, Jack, I thought it was an excellent game. 2 very committed teams, possibly 2 of the top teams in the country at present. The game was one of 2 halves. Dublin started off very determined, won the crucial area of the midfield area, got a lot of break ball, and to a certain extent in the second half they ran out of steam, and Donegal, it's very hard to dominate a team, and Donegal got their midfield into action. Martin Gavigan going off and Noel Hegarty coming into centre half back position solidified that area, and they played much better.
But Donegal, as you say, they were struggling in the first half. I mean, it wasn't happening at all for them, was it?
No, and a crucial factor of course would be the form that Dermot Deasy on Tony Boyle in the full forward line. he done a very good job today. He was out to mark him man to man, and he done his job very well. The whole
he was man of the match, DC.
Yeah,
you wouldn't argue with that.
I wouldn't argue with that. He deserved that. But the whole full back line of the Dublin team played very, very well today, and it was only in the second half that the room started opening up for both teams, and we got a bit more free-flowing game.
Right. Okay, let's have a look at the first talking point. And should Donegal have had a goal? That square ball incident. Here we are.
Square ball incidents are always controversial. A long free kick in by Martin McHugh, and Manus Boyle is on the edge of square. I wouldn't say it was the free was given for actual square ball. I think it was a slight nudge on Kieran Walsh, and I think it was a fair decision in the end.
But Donegal, I mean, it was a good revival, wasn't it?
Excellent. You know, their backs were to the wall, but it just shows the tenacity of this team. They've won an All-Ireland, they've been through a campaign, and they're playing with great confidence and belief in themselves. And never say die attitude they have.
Yeah. You said there that Dublin they ran out of steam, and I would agree with that. Were you surprised at that?
Well, at this stage in the year, with the championship just around the corner, teams are training very, very hard and doing a lot of physical work. It is very difficult to keep the running game going for 60 minutes and to dominate your opposition. And this was the case today. I thought they played very well, but they ran out of steam. Yeah.
All credit to Donegal. They came back, and Mr. Hegarty put over the point that tied it up. And a good one it was. We can see that now.
Yeah, this was his second run, Jackie, down the field. And again, it resulted in a very good score. He shrugs off the tackle by Jack Sheedy and keeps going, and in his mind there was a point. And it was a beautiful right curve point. Fair play to him. He showed the true character of Donegal players at the moment.
Charlie Redmond and Keith Barr surprisingly only a sub today, both sent off. What did you make of those?
Well, the incidents were difficult, of course, to judge. Charlie Redmond's incident, well, he'd been persistently fouling, I thought, and I thought he was very lucky to stay on for the length of time that he did.
He had been booked earlier, yeah.
He had, but as the saying goes, he had committed a number of personal fouls. I thought it was more frustration on his behalf. Yes. John Joe Docherty had a great game today and played very, very well. Yeah,
and I think we can see the Keith Barr incident. I think it was more for an aggressive tackle. There we are.
Yeah, more for a dangerous tackle. I think when a midfielder makes up his mind to go for the ball, he's wide open, and I think Keith had misjudged the flight of the ball, and he just launched into
and then we had this, and
yeah, well,
really the game's image doesn't need this, does it?
No, it doesn't. But again, it was at a very tense time in the game. You know, the teams were level, and things do happen like that.
Yeah, and both those guys will miss next week, which is a big blow, isn't it?
A very big blow. Then they're two crucial players, and two crucial players to the Dublin attack.
Yeah. Okay, Liam, thank you very much indeed. We can now take a look at some club results today, and in the Down Senior Championship, first round wins there for Bryansford and Loughlin Island. Brendan Mason, he gets 6 points for the Island. And moving on to Tyrone's League Division 1, wins there for Trillig, Dromore, Carrickmore, Moy and Errigal Kieran. And as you look at the results from Division 1 in Armagh, I can tell you that John Grimley, he was carried off with a knee injury in Harp's drawn game with Collegeland, and Grimley could miss Armagh's championship game against Fermanagh in a fortnight's time. And an Armagh League result, not on that caption. Kalivi won 9, Pearsogue 2-11. 9 minutes of injury time played in that game, and Ger Hullerton, he scored a late penalty for the winners. Well, looking ahead, the Ulster Senior Championship gets underway in 2 weeks' time. And first up, it's the game I've just mentioned, Fermanagh against Armagh. And we've got the highlights on our championship programme. That's May the 16th at 10:30. And I'm glad to say Liam will be joining us throughout the championship series as our resident expert. And that's it on the day Donegal and Dublin couldn't be separated, but an entertaining game, and we all look forward to the replay next Sunday. In the meantime, from Liam and me and all of us here, bye-bye.